One of my favorite moments, definitely, man. I'm gonna have to say Rapid States. I love the sample. Um,
You want to talk about Benny for a second, Mike? Because I
let's
know
talk
you
about
were.
Benny.
Well, you had some offline comments. You know what I'm saying?
Well, this is the thing about Benny, man. I think as a Benny the Butcher fan myself, and as a Griselda fan, and we've talked about Griselda since this podcast started a year and a half ago. While they were in the midst of the best run that we had seen in hip hop in a second.
Yeah.
Benny was always like my personal favorite based on his delivery and you know what I'm saying the way he presented. And I don't know, man. I think this feature right here on Rap Estates is the standard for me. And I know a lot of people who watch the show, they think I be being too hard on Benny when his album drops, and I, I just don't think he hit that rubber bands and weight mark, man. And this is the mark. Now, if him signing to Def Jam means that we're gonna get 10 to 12 songs with this level of quality, I'm with it. And I hope that's it. You know what I'm saying? Brian with us says, new subscriber here, and this is my first time checking out y'all live. That's what's up, man. Tell a friend,
What
tell a
up?
friend. What up, Brian? Go ahead and subscribe to According to Hip Hop excuse me, on YouTube. Click the bell icon so you know when we're live. But yes, Benny, man, he killed this song, and this is the level of not level of consistency, but this is the level that I expect from him. And what I was gonna say is Conway has been the one who's been able to do this consistently. So in my mind, and you've been telling me this for a while, and in my mind, they're not even really close right now if we talk about individual output. I think Benny still needs from a king to a god. He still needs Pray for Paris. And if he's rapping at this level, on production that is at this level, I think we can get that from Benny. And I'm hoping this is like the beginning of something that we're about to see.
Right. So, it's funny. I thought of Conway when I thought of Benny's verse because you want to know what I thought about Mike, and here may be why you like Benny so much. Is there a rapper with a better rap voice than Benny right now?
Nah, man. I mean, I'm trying to think off top. I mean, with that flow and that delivery, it's
No,
hard
that's
to,
what I'm
yeah.
saying. He's got a great voice and flow and delivery. And so you're looking for somebody to finish the job. And then you got Conway who keeps getting the job done. Like Conway's voice is not as dope as Benny's voice. And so I think a lot of the reason why Conway doesn't get what Benny is getting has to do with the voice because you can understand Benny so clearly and it's so crisp and he punches in the way that a great MC punches in traditionally, the way a Nas punches in, the way a Jadakiss
Yeah.
punches in, the way a Biggie punches in. No, he has that. But to what you're saying, like even with this, Mike, like this is a great performance for him, but only in the context of this year for me, because for me, this isn't rubber bands and weight
Oh, no,
level. It's
no.
his best level this year.
Mm. And maybe in the best level in the past 2 years.
No, Mike, I mean, George Bondo has
Okay.
been his best level of the last 2 years,
George
lyrically.
Bondo's crazy. You're right. And again,
98 Sabres,
I always forget that Pray for Paris came out last year because it
because it
sounds
feels so
so
classic.
fucking
Right,
classic. I feels
right.
like it feels like we've always had this album.
No, 98 Sabres. So
You put 98 Sabres above this verse? I don't know about that.
maybe. Well, I'll have to listen again. It's been a minute since I listened to 98 Sabres. But I'm saying all this to say is that, like, what he really did on this record is that he spit his shit without losing anything. So you can do that. You
Yeah.
can, like, you can spit that Tana Talk 3 shit that you and me like. Like your thing is rubber bands and weight. Mine is Rick. You know?
Right.
Like, no, you can spit like that and get it off in this climate. Go ahead and then go get it off. You're just going to have to craft it carefully. Look at the person who you're rapping next to and how he crafts stuff carefully.
I mean, he still doesn't have the cow moment. I mean, that's just my opinion.
I mean, first of all, I think The Cow is one of the best verses ever by Conway. That's one of the best verses ever. Not too many people have those moments.
Yeah. I think the
But
all-time greats do.
they do. But Mike, that's why I keep going back to that "Gods don't bleed" verse. Like, what do you think of that verse? Like, I think that verse is all time great, kind of.
Yeah, no, I agree with that.
You don't think so? Like, because I mean, when I hear that, man, it's like, no, he's breaking it down. Let's backtrack. Had my first daughter with my first wife. Caught my first quarter. Caught my first strike. Set up by a nigga I served twice. He got picked up. Then he bitched up like the nigga was about to serve life. I turned
Yeah.
over dollars. How you do explain that? Straight facts. Blood on the money when they got paid back. You know them hustlers who slang packs. I'm tied with them same cats in case I gotta get my name back. All the nights I had to pray for this, they gonna pay for this. No mistaking it, got a safe with no more space in it. Yeah, that's all time great, Mike.
Tom Annette says Benny got the ability to be the most commercial out of the label. I agree. He has the tools to do that,
Yeah,
and I
Mike.
thought we were gonna get that with Burden of Proof. To me, and I know a lot of people like Burden of Proof a lot, but I just thought it was underwhelming, and maybe because the Hit Boy pairing of doing the whole project, and we're so used to hearing him over such gritty shit.
Right, but Mike, okay, so here's why years in competition matter. Last year was so great that I think we had Burden of Proof at like 12 on albums of the year. But Mike, if it were to come out this year, it'd be a top 10 album pretty easy.
Yeah.
That's why when I bring up the Kendrick thing about comp, that's why I'm talking about that comp matters. Because if Burden of Proof were to drop this year, it's probably up 5 or 6 spaces.
No, you're right.
Yeah, because I can't think of 6 or 7 projects better than Burden of Proof this year. I could come up with about 10 last year.
Yeah.
So I did.
Last year was stacked.
Yeah.
Last year was
stacked. Mostly because of his crew, Mike. Like, his crew is part of the reason it was stacked.
I mean, Westside put out 3 albums, in my opinion, that were better than Burden of Proof.
I mean, Mike, literally the top 3 albums, we got him at 12. Well, the top 3 albums, one is with your they're your cousins. Like your cousins made the best 2 rap albums last year. And then the guy who I think you've rhymed with the most outside of your camp, which is Freddie, made the 3rd best album.
Yeah, man.
And
When
Mike,
you talking about...
when I'm saying he made the 3rd best album, Mike, I told you, anybody that would have told me Alfredo was the best album last year, I wouldn't argue with him.
No, definitely.
They told me From a King to a God was the best album last year, I wouldn't argue with them. When they told me we thought it was Pray for Paris, but Mike, it's rare that you get a year where there are 3 classic rap albums and you're like, no, you can pick one of those albums the best album of the year. So he fell in a year like that because probably in any other year, Burden of Proof is going to probably be a top 5 to 10 rap album.
And you know what? And it wasn't even just because
fell in a heavy year. That's with the competition.
But no, these guys are in your circle, so it's like there's probably like hella pictures of Freddie, Westside, Conway, and Benny in the same room. So
Mike, no, my favorite photo from last year.
And somebody said, don't forget Baldy James. Yes.
Mike, we had a Price of Tea of China at number 6 last year.
Yeah.
Hello. I'm going to talk about Boldy in a minute because I thought about something when I listened to Bo Jackson. Mike, I saw a photo last year. It's my favorite rap photo last year. Guess who it was? It was Conway, Benny, and Gibbs standing next to each other after a show. And they said on the caption, 3 of your top 5 right now. And I was thinking, you motherfucking right.
Yeah, straight up. But see, the thing is, man, when you got Pray for Paris, From a King to a God, Alfredo, and then you put out Burden of Proof, I guess in my mind as a listener, and this is the collective, and we had, so much anticipation for Benny, then next to those 3, it's definitely going to be underwhelming.
Right.
But see, it wasn't set up in a similar way in those either, because when you got Alchemist producing the whole thing as opposed to Hit Boy, that makes things a little different.
So, Mike, I was about to say something. So let's go to these Boldy projects right quick because I was listening to Bo Jackson and figuring out where to rank it because it's a top 10 rap album this year. This is his 2nd straight year making a top 10 rap album. He made a Price of Tea in China last year. Here's something Boldy understands. He understands that Alchemist understands him, and he understands that Alchemist is one of the greatest producers of all time, and he's going there, Mike.
Yes.
And so Benny needs to go where it works with who understands him. You get what I'm saying?
I think there's a thing, and I don't know this, but it
Because here's the
seems
thing.
like Benny wants to go in his own path, and
Right? No. That's
yeah,
obvious, Mike. Mike, that's obvious. But and I say this about Boldy because I've given him enough props on this show when people have jumped up and criticized him. I'm like, yo, you better stop talking about dude. Fam can spit. He's diverse. He knows how to write 3 songs in a hook consistently, record to record, and make the record sound good. But he's not Benny. But for the second straight year, he's made a project just clearly superior to him. It was a Price of Tea in China last year, and it's Bo Jackson this year. But you want
DeCarlo
to know
says I got Boldy above Benny right now.
what?
Honestly, what do you think about that?
Mike, what did I just Mike? Because you want to know what the burden of proof says that he is. Because a Price of Tea in China says so. Because Bo Jackson says so, Mike. Because he's like, no, fuck all that. Have Alchemist cook up the whole joint. And that's what I'm saying is like the project that we want to hear from Benny. I have a feeling that it's like, well, here are the guys that need to be producing it: Alchemist, Derringer, Beat Butcher, Premier, Havoc. He's not doing that, and so we're gonna have to wait and see.
Benny is reminding me of my
Mike,
favorite rapper in the '90s right now, Method Man.
He reminds you of Method Man.
So he is right now. I mean, when you're looking at all the shit that his crew is making right now, this is where Method Man was standing when Takal was out, and you got Only Built for Cuban Links out there. You got the dirty version out there. You got Liquid Swords out there. You got Iron Man out there. That's what this is.
You want to know what, Mike? The Method Man is very appropriate because there's really not anybody out here with a better voice or flow than Benny, much like Method Man. Here's what I will give Method Man. Method Man had this guy named the Notorious B.I.G. vocally and flow-wise to contend with, so it was never clear-cut meth. But when I listen to Benny, it's like, no, he's got the best rap voice. He's got the best rapper delivery. Like, at least with Meth, it was like a big Meth conversation. It's like, well, if you thought Big's voice was better, I can't knock you for that. Or if you thought Big's flow was better, well, I can't knock you for that. But it was mostly those two guys as far as voice and delivery. Benny is clearly, to me, has
Snoop Dogg too.
Yeah, we can put Snoop in that too. But what I'm saying is that I'm talking about when you're talking on that high level. But here's what I'm saying. Well, look at the guys that he's on a high level with. Well, he clearly has a better voice and flow than Gibbs and Conway. Like, he has a better voice and flow than them. Their projects are coming off better.
I'm gonna keep it real.
And when I'm saying his flow is better, I'm kind of using that in past tense because Conway is just bananas at everything.
I was gonna say, yeah, Conway's definitely the most balanced, and he sounds comfortable over everything.
Just bananas at everything.
I've never been a big Gibbs fan like that, and I've become more and more of a Gibbs fan over the years. And after Alfredo, I'm there. But he rapped his ass off on Alfredo. You know what I'm saying?
Like you can hear it.
Yeah.
No, like you can hear
the hunger is crazy for somebody who's been in the game this long.
You can hear him seizing the moment. Like, it's almost like he understood what Alfredo was even before we did, maybe even before Alchemist
did. I
didn't
hear that in Benny and Burden of Proof. I just didn't. And and I hope that I do in his next
baby shit,
effort.
Mike. Baby shit. Yeah. Ain't nobody ever gave me shit. I had to take the shit. Man. He's hungry. Like, he's like 7, 8, 9 years in the game. He just, Mike, you got to understand, the year before, he just made the best album of his career. Yeah. Like he just made Bandana.
Yeah.
Like, that was his best shit. Like, he walked in and made Alfredo like he didn't just make Bandana last year.
Yeah, DJ Bruce Almighty says the Black Illuminati is record of the year. That's the record with Gibbs and Jada. And
Mike,
it's a great pairing right there too.
When we first heard it, didn't we? Was like when you were like one of the best rap songs of the year. Yeah. I was like, well, that's easy. It's like, it's just about, like, Mike, I immediately thought, is this better than Hell on Earth 2? Because that's the best rap song I heard this year. And I was like,
man, Hell on Earth 2 is gross, man. Listen, I don't know, man. I'm gonna listen to both of them side by side, and y'all know that we on some real hardcore shit with this, you know what I'm saying? So we're not talking about, I guess, best radio single per se, but
no, we doing rap shit, man. Fuck that single shit.
Yeah, man.
Freddie, single still exists,
right? What is the biggest quote unquote rap single of
But
the
yeah, what's the
year.
biggest rap song this year? Somebody tell me, because I only know what's good and what's not.
Would it be something like Jack Harlow's "What's Poppin'" or something?
Mike, if that's what's popping, then that's why this list ain't gonna have shit like that on it. Because that's not anywhere
But
like
yeah, I
on my
would
list.
love to see the hunger in Benny that I've heard in Freddie in the past 2 years, man.
Mike, the hunger that you hear on Black Illuminati.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like Freddie's rapping his ass off, man,
Yeah.
and like you said, he doesn't have the voice that Benny has and the delivery that Benny has. I, you know, anyway, I think that his appearance on this Ross album kind of is a really bright spot where it looks like, okay, Benny's hungry right now. He sounds great on here, but I don't want it to be fool's gold because everybody sounds great on the Ross album.